Welcome to China Truths. In this episode, we will bring you the following stories. Rising COVID-19 cases in China with many sudden deaths of unknown causes. Beijing faces outbreak of pneumonia in children, hospitals overwhelmed, classes suspended. Now, let's dive into the details. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Rising COVID-19 cases in China with many sudden deaths of unknown causes. COVID-19 cases are surging across China, with reports of overcrowded hospitals and a growing number of sudden deaths, particularly among younger individuals. Many doctors have observed a significant increase in sudden heart attacks and strokes with no apparent cause in recent years. However, authorities are accused of covering up the situation. A Zhejiang resident, using the pseudonym Chen Liang for security and safety reasons, who runs a business in Yiwu and interacts with a wide range of people, disclosed that hospitals nationwide are overwhelmed, and the patients are increasingly younger. Another resident, using the pseudonym Hu Quan from Liaoning, suffered a sudden stroke following a fever and cold. At 44, previously in good health with no underlying conditions, he survived after hospitalization but suspects the COVID-19 virus may have triggered his condition. Hu Quan shared, "All the tests showed no issues, no hypertension or diabetes, yet I had a stroke. Now I feel weak, dizzy, have back pain, numbness on my right side, and some speech difficulties. Since being discharged, I've been taking traditional Chinese medicine." A Beijing doctor surnamed Chen revealed that sudden deaths caused by heart attacks and strokes have become increasingly common. In some cases, the underlying issue isn't with the heart itself but stems from problems like spinal abnormalities causing nerve dysfunction, known as spine-related heart disease. Dr. Chen explained, when the nerves controlling the heart are affected, abnormal nerve activity can cause discomfort, ischemia, narrowed blood vessels, or sudden cardiac arrest. This is why athletes sometimes die suddenly during sports. For instance, an elderly neighbor of mine lost his brother-in-law when he suddenly died while driving on the highway. A Beijing resident, using the pseudonym Zhang Zhijia, revealed that several colleagues have developed persistent symptoms, with some coughing for 1 to 2 months without improvement despite medication. Zhang also mentioned instances of sudden deaths. Zhang Zhijia shared, "Just a few days ago, a colleague, aged 34, suddenly collapsed at work. By the time he was found, his vital signs were very weak. He passed away in the hospital that evening." Another young person in Beijing collapsed and died suddenly at a subway station after arguing with someone. Mr. Li, a resident of Baoding, Hebei province, reports that the local outbreak has caused a noticeable rise in sudden deaths. While the government denies links to COVID-19, the public suspects otherwise. Many people are experiencing fever, nasal congestion, and coughing. It feels like COVID-19. Over the past month, I've seen a rise in heart attacks and strokes leading to sudden deaths, especially among those in their 50s and 60s. Some of them showed no symptoms before collapsing, while others had high blood pressure leading to brain hemorrhages, said Mr. Li. Ms. Liu, using pseudonym, a nurse in Tianjin, claims the true death toll from the pandemic is being hidden. Each year, cases spike during colder months, especially near Lunar New Year. Over the past few years, many people have died during the pandemic, Ms. Liu said. Beijing faces outbreak of pneumonia in children, hospitals overwhelmed, classes suspended. Recently, the number of children in Beijing infected with pneumonia has surged dramatically. Some classes have seen half of their students affected, with others resorting to remote learning. Major pediatric hospitals are overwhelmed, with long lines at outpatient and emergency departments. Parents are struggling, and one resident lamented that Beijing Children's Hospital feels as if all the children in the country have flocked there. On November 18, a parent shared online that Beijing is experiencing a major outbreak of Mycoplasma pneumonia. The Capital Institute of Pediatrics is overcrowded, with a minimum 3-hour wait for emergency care and unknown delays for intravenous treatment. The parent warned others planning to visit the hospital, "Prepare yourselves. Bring chairs or camping gear, it's way too crowded. It's also very hot inside, so don't overdress." On November 17, another parent expressed shock at the packed conditions at Beijing Children's Hospital, posting a video of the overwhelming scene. Meanwhile, New Century Children's Hospital, a private facility in Beijing, is also at capacity. The high costs have deterred many. One parent disclosed that a week-long stay, including intravenous treatment, medications, and care, exceeded 40,000 yuan, or over $5,000. Procedures like bronchoscopy raised costs to 60,000 to 80,000 yuan, and the hospital has since run out of beds. A mother shared that 9 out of 10 children receiving emergency intravenous treatment have pneumonia. She explained how her child required 6 days of intravenous treatment, and every case she inquired about had the same illness. She emphasized the stealthy nature of Mycoplasma pneumonia, likening it to COVID-19. Initial tests often fail to detect it, causing delays in treatment. In her case, the doctor initiated treatment based on symptoms despite a negative swab test. 4 days later, a subsequent test confirmed the diagnosis. Parents report that this wave of pneumonia has rendered stethoscopes nearly useless. Doctors said the current pneumonia is tricky, auscultation often fails to detect it, said one parent. Another shared, "My child had no abnormal lung sounds, but an X-ray revealed pneumonia." Even expert consultations failed to reliably detect the illness without imaging. One parent recounted paying 300 yuan for a specialist who concluded there was nothing wrong based on auscultation, only for X-rays to reveal significant lung inflammation. Another parent echoed the experience. The stethoscope found nothing, but multiple lung lobes were already inflamed. Many parents took to social media, sharing similar accounts of misdiagnosed or undetected pneumonia. On November 6, a parent asked, "How many kids in Beijing have caught Mycoplasma pneumonia?" "No fever, just coughing, and some cases show partial white lung on chest X-rays." Some schools have resorted to class suspensions due to widespread illness. A media commentator with tens of thousands of followers described how some classrooms had up to 8 students absent at a time. In some cases, entire classes switched to remote learning for 3 days. This outbreak is not limited to Beijing. ZN pediatrician Gong Wei reported that many clinics are overwhelmed with cases of Mycoplasma pneumonia, rhinovirus, and influenza. He emphasized the importance of avoiding crowded places, maintaining indoor ventilation, practicing good hygiene, and boosting immunity. Dr. Liu from Jinan Children's Hospital described similar trends, with over 50 children on the wait list for bronchoscopy. He expects the outbreak to persist through winter, with possible relief by March.